and you know my name. You know racing cars is my favorite game, and you know I can't be beat when I'm in the driver's seat. See, I got a lead foot and gas in my veins. God put a V8 where he should have put brains. There ain't a race I haven't run. There ain't a race I haven't won. And it's been 7 days since I've won a race, and I don't plan on leaving this place till I've won another. Send you crying home to your mother. See, I got the car, the skill, the crew, the will. God hates a sinner, but he loves a winner. You dare to show your face? Come on, Ace. Let's race. 43 cars on the field, and I'm sitting on.
Good evening, everybody. It's Joe Larson. You're watching the 505 on Racing Show. We got off to a little bit of a lead start today. Some changes that they had to show me. And I'm still not sure I'm going to do them right. So anyway, I welcome everybody. It's been good. And the weather out here on Long Island, I'll tell you what, it was a little slick, a little snow on the ground. I know by my house, it's probably about an inch. And then but driving out here, heading east, there wasn't too much in the way of snow other than on a median, but it was slippery. And I love driving on slippery roads. You get to have a good time. So, WJ, if I knew, I would. I didn't find out till I got here. And Jay says you are 100. I am not a techie person. I know how to turn one on and turn one off. Maybe use a Word document, fill in the blanks in Excel, but other than that, they were talking, and they might as well have been talking to me in another, like a foreign Vulcan language, because I just nodded. Going, oh, okay, yeah, all right. We're talking about things I just didn't know about, but it was good. And today's Studio A, we had some shrimp and broccoli, so it was pretty good. In fact, I could still smell it. The smell is permeating the studio as we speak. And today was one of those crazy days where I didn't get to eat dinner before I came to the show, so I had a little quick bite. That's another long story, but anyway, it's one of those things. One of those things. So, hope everybody's having a good week. And I just want to say, moving forward, when I get back from Daytona, I believe I'm landing the Monday after the 500. I'm flying back. The plan is right now to make that the anniversary show. Now, anniversary, we got 2 years that we've been doing this. What I'm going to do is probably set up a round table and bring back a bunch of guests that have been on the show previous, and we'll just have a round table discussion, talk about where we've been, where we're going, where we're headed, and how it's going. And I'm not a fast food junkie, my race news. I'm not a fast food junkie. I lost 70 pounds, and I didn't lose it by still stopping at Taco Bell and Burger King and McDonald's and Wendy's. 70 pounds. In fact, I think the last time I touched the scale, it was 195. I haven't weighed 195 in 30 years. And I'm not sick. I don't have a disease or anything that I know of. I just changed my eating habits. And, a chubby guy doesn't look good in a race uniform, whether it's a fire suit on pit road or a fire suit in a race car. A chubby guy doesn't look good. Just doesn't look good. And then it's hard to get off. It's easy to be slim. And I'm at that point, I think. So it's all good. It's all good. And that announcement, I'm sure everybody has heard that I've known of for 2 weeks, that I was sworn to secrecy, was that Tom Baldwin Racing announced that it will run the number 7 in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series in 2013. Team owner Tom Baldwin's late father, Tom Sr., drove the number 7 NY on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Baldwin said the number 7 has been in the Baldwin family for a long time, and it's going to be pretty special to carry on that legacy in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Also, second-generation driver will drive the car full-time for the 3rd consecutive year, so Dave Blaney. So that's a good thing. And I understand they can't run the letters. It's a NASCAR rule. You can't have letters. So I believe the 7 NY logo that we're all accustomed with will be on the car for testing. But I believe the I've seen a couple of different pictures, and the NY is still going to be on the car somewhere. So it just was not technically part of the number. NASCAR's kind of funny about that. You go back 40, 50 years, and they all had numbers, but and all numbers, of course. They all had letters with that. So I don't know. Robbie, I don't know, WJ, if Robbie Gordon has finally given it up. I'm not. It's kind of funny with numbers in NASCAR in the top 3 series and in the Touring series as well. A team owner, whether it's a corporation or an individual, has to do what they call buy or number. So when you buy an owner's license, you can't just say, "Oh, I want to have an owner's license because I want to have a say and I want to see the payroll sheets." You take an owner's and they're going to ask you what series, what car number, and it has to be a car number that's available. Years ago on the NASCAR Modified Tour, how can I say it? They allowed a bunch of guys to have the same numbers, but in the computer, let's say, you had the 51A and the 51B for purposes in the computer to keep track of the owner points. So, and WJ, you're absolutely correct. Hendrick did do that. Now, there's a lot of deals that are behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about and they're not privy to, and I know of some of them, and I don't really want to discuss the business end of this deal, not this deal with the Baldwin deal, but other car number deals, because that does happen. And it's kind of funny when Kyle Petty went to drive for Felix Sabates. Kyle asked Felix, he said, can I still run the 42? I want to run the 42. So Felix, yeah, sure, yeah, run the 42. Now when Kyle left Felix Sabates, Felix wouldn't give him back his number. It was and Kyle's argument, that number has been in our family since NASCAR started. Felix didn't care. He wouldn't sell it to him. He wouldn't do anything with it. So numbers are a pretty touchy thing. Like somebody saying in the chat room, imagine what the 3 is worth. Now, as far as I understand, Richard Childress still owns number 3. Now, I think enough time has passed, and I think when his grandson goes Sprint Cup racing, I think the number 3 will be back because it's back on the Nationwide Series. Not that the 3 was ever in the Nationwide Series, but I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see Richard Childress with a 3 in the Sprint Cup Series with one of his grandsons, and that would be good to see. I mean, it's been a long time since that tragedy in Daytona in 2001, but I think it's time. I think it's time we need to let go of some of those things that go back into the past. So here we are talking about me calling a kettle black here, but anyway, that's what needs to be done, and move forward. But buying a number, it's you fill out a form, you pay the fee, and you say what number, what series. As long as it's not taken, it's yours. And I can remember I was having a chat with Chad Little when he was the Modified Series director, and I wanted to know what numbers were available, because guys, some of you guys know me, and I like to stir the pot sometimes. So I convinced Chad that somebody else. I was involved with a team, and I was a driver and all that kind of good stuff. And I said to him, joking around, I said, I need a single-digit number, from 1 to 9. Because I need room for all my sponsors. And the 2-digit number just doesn't work because the size that the numbers have to be, it takes up most of the door. And then all you have really left is the quarter panel, the back panel, and you're according to the rule book, you couldn't advertise on the hood at the time, and you can't advertise on the spoiler. Why? I don't know. Supposedly because it blocks your view and stuff. And you can't advertise on the roof. So it doesn't leave a lot of room for sponsors. So I wanted a single digit. So Chad, being the buster that he could be, said, well, number 1's available. And I said, really? I said, I'll take the 1 then. Not that I have a car to put a number 1 on, but it was just part of my fun and games with being an official and working with Chad in the tour. And I'll tell you what, Chad's going to be missed. Maybe not by some of the competitors, but he had a good working relationship with the officials that he worked with. Some of them, most of them. He did... There were some that he just wasn't comfortable with. He inherited some people that I guess he felt were not doing what he expected them to do. and it asked the orders. And I don't agree with him on that. And Chad and I have had this discussion. But there's been some officials in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour up in the north who have been officials since the start of the touring series, back when Jerry Cook took it over, back I believe in '85. And they came from other racetracks. They came from Riverside Park. They came from Thompson. They came from Stafford. And back in the day when they were on their own to get to the racetrack and find a place to stay. And they got a flat rate. They got a flat pay for the event. They got a certain amount for a one-day show, a certain amount for a two-day show. Now you're paid by the hour, and your expenses are covered for the most part. I shouldn't say for the most part, for the whole part. Whatever your expenses are, they cover within reason. But anyway, talking about the modifieds. Now, this battle at the beach. Last week I talked and I talked about my concern about car count. So I went to the social media and I just made a little post and I asked if anybody knew who was going to the race. And a couple of people, some in the know, some in the guess, as I say, responded. And as of the social media and a couple of people, and I want to thank AJ Hackett for providing many of the names, and I don't know where he got them from, but so don't shoot me if these names aren't correct, because he did provide me with most of them, and I did touch base with others to confirm. But the UNOH battle at the beach on February 19th, right now, again as per AJ Hackett, and plus the couple of folks that I did talk to directly. Bonsignor will be there, Stefanik, Christopher, Priest, Goodale, Stephen Park, Zegedy, Hagee, Silk, Matty Hirschman, Johnny Bush, Jamie Tomeno, Woody Pitcat, Ronnie Silk, and Andy Seiss are going to be there. Now, I also was told today that Stephen Park is driving a backup car, the number 2 backup car. I don't know, and that's number 2, I was told. Todd Zegedy's backup car owned by Mike Samriglio. So that I did hear. So that's a good deal. That's a good deal I think it's a good deal for the series, and I think it's good to see Stephen Park back in a modified. I think he's raced with us a couple of times. I think he ran at Loudon, and he ran the Whelen car, the Whelen engineering car, at Loudon. So, and yes, he does live down there, from what I understand. So it'll be good to see that. It'll be good to see Stephen Park, and here's a guy. His career, it shot up fast, and due to an unfortunate situation in Dover, it kind of shot down fast too. But that happens in this sport we call racing. Also, the UNOH battle at the beach will be televised live on Speed. I'm giving a little plug to my Speed people, and I have some friends at Speed, and there's actually a couple of people from the Speed channel who tune into the show. At least if they can't catch it on Monday night, they go to the archives, which, for those of you who have trouble on Monday nights, you can. Our shows are archived, and you can go watch them. And I like to use the archives myself, because I'll get these nasty grams in my email. I can't believe you said this, and this, and I'm like right back, no, I didn't. And then the email comes back, well, I was told by Carlos Barzano that you said this, and this. And then I say, well, go to the archive. You'll see exactly what I said. And all of a sudden, that dialogue stops. And it's a good thing these shows are archived, because it's there forever. And that's what we're doing here. It's all saved. It's like the internet. It's forever. This isn't going away. This isn't, it's not like the antenna on your chimney at your house back when you were a kid growing up, where your television was snowy and cloudy and all that kind of good stuff. So, but moving forward, the race will be live on Speed. It'll be a good race, and I'm going to have a good time working it. I'll be heading down the Friday before, and I'll be coming back Monday evening just in time to come back and do this show, which, like I said earlier, will be the anniversary show. We're going to do a little anniversary show and invite back some of those guests that have been here and who have helped make the show what it is. Because without you folks that come down, and talk, and guys and gals in the chat room. We don't have a show to do, and this is your show as much as it is mine and in review. So this is what we do here. Anyway, so again, I noticed on the website for not only a local racetrack but a couple other racetracks looking for officiating help, and I got to wonder what's going on when racetracks are advertising on their website that they need officials. They need to hire officials, and I'm not sure if that means that officials are retiring. I don't know if officials are moving on, but years ago, you took a racer that was maybe retired or wasn't racing anymore, or somebody in the know, and that person became an official. That person was a friend of a friend who knew somebody who was involved in racing. He's there every week anyway, so you gave me an official shirt. And yeah, my racing is absolutely. Why not? I don't know. Depending on what they're looking for. Some are looking for tech people. Some are looking for head officials, like race directors, competition directors, chief stewards, things of that nature, and tech people. And I'll tell you what, as a tech guy in the modified series, being a tech official at a weekly short track is tough. And I'm going to say it's one of the hardest jobs that a race official will have, is be the head tech guy at a weekly short track, part of the NASCAR Weekly All-American Series, because the politics that's involved with that. A lot of times officials get blamed for things that they have no control over, yet they have to bite their tongue, and I know that firsthand, and those in my racing circle know that. They know that, hey, the hands are tied, because you got to understand. Now, you take a guy or a gal, let's say, you take a guy or a gal who says, who's maybe their sponsor or their car owner is heavily involved with that facility, whether it's on a sponsorship level, whether it's on a financial level, whether it's they supply, equipment, whatever the case may be. They're looking for a little favor. But little is a relative term. What's a little favor? And I used to tell these guys when I got them in the office, I would say to them, what that means is I can give you the gray area. Black and white, I can't give you. If your driver deliberately wrecks a guy, I got to put out the black hanky, and you got to either go to the back or go start your barbecue a little earlier. And that just isn't an understanding. And you see that with at every racetrack I've ever been with, that our series or my series, when I say the series, the modified series, or even some of the K&N series, when you go to these racetracks, and you're not doing a standalone show, you're racing with the weekly stuff sometimes, and you see some of the stuff that goes on, and you're like, whoa, I thought that was only stuff that happens on my old racetrack that I used to be at. So, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. So, anyway, people are chatting about the informational meetings that Long Island has going on, that we started, I believe it was started in 1999 or 2000. This year there will be, I was told the same thing, ladies and gentlemen, there is no winter meetings planned at this time. And I have mixed emotions about that. Because the teams wanted to make it a rules meeting, and that's not what it was intended to be. What basically was intended to be that team knew when it signed into the pit gate, that first day or night or whatever you want to call it, they knew what was expected of them, and they were introduced to the staff, and they were given almost like a heads up as to this is what we expect and this is where we're going. And for some reason that was not scheduled this week. And I have a feeling part of that is because, the head guy, Mike Cappiello, his schedule just doesn't allow him to do that. I'm thinking. I haven't spoken to him about that, and I don't plan to because it doesn't concern me. But because it doesn't matter anyway. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's just Is it a necessary thing? Maybe not. Maybe you get everybody together at the opening day and you maybe shorten practice a little bit. I mean, come on, you don't need to go out there 3 times. You short practice and you have, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we need to do, and this is what we need. All right, so I don't know. And what are they saying? They'd love to see a raised platform for the photo people to take photos in the infield. Wow, it's something to think about. Some racetracks have them. But I will say that many that I've been at do not. A lot of places don't. Where the photographers are is very limited, and that's due to insurance purposes. They don't want people hurt or injured. So it's bring your own lumber, and they won't let you do that either. Make your own. But it's one of those things that do you really need to be raised up? Do you really need to do that? At some places they have those blocks, the Jersey barriers you could stand on. I remember ISA Speedway had a photographer's tower in the infield between turns 3 and 4. I remember that. And somebody just said, yeah, they did it at ISA, and I remember that. But here's what happens. Here's what happens. You have people that decide, I have to use the men's room or the ladies' room, so they want to walk across, and then, I'm done, I got to go back, and, kind of holds up things, and they're not too quick about getting across, and then it seems like every guy that has a camera feels that they should be able to go out there as well, and, it becomes more of a headache. It was more of a headache, and, and when you say it was there before they took over, you're talking 30 years ago. Come on, there wasn't a tree next to your driveway 30 years ago too, probably. I'm only being facetious, but we have to get out of that past stuff. We have to look forward. What can we do moving forward? I really think Victory Lane should be off the racetrack. I really do. Or on the backstretch, so you can get the next round of cars on the racetrack, as some racetracks do. And plenty of time. It's one of the things that I've looked at. And one of the things that, when I'm involved with a weekly racetrack, I look at the time in between races. And people, when I say people, fans, they're going there to see racing. They don't want to see 30 people go out and get a picture. Another driver wants a picture with this guy. It's like a wedding. And the picture taking part of some Victory Lane celebrations could take 15 minutes. So, and it has. I used to keep track of that. And let's say you have 5 races that night, 5 features. That's an hour and 15 minutes that you lost to that, to pictures and stuff. The other thing that you could do, and I've recognized, if you have a good enough camera, you could get a good shot from the top row of the grandstands or the roof of a press box. Victory Lane photo should be just that. If there's a race sponsor, you get the race sponsor with the trophy, the driver with the checker flag, stand by the car, boom, take the picture. All right, next. I mean, I hate to be that cold. It's even in Sprint Cup and Victory Lane for the TV portion is kind of quick. If you've ever been at a racetrack that has had a cup race, every sponsor that's on the car, the team has to do the hat change. Go, boom, got this hat. Boom, boom. Then the contingency ones, a hat for each one of those, and because each one of those people or companies get a photo as well. So there's things that can be done, and I don't know what it, and it does take hours to go. But the one that you see on TV takes minutes. It's the initial picture. It's usually the I got water. They throw the juice all over the place. But they are there for hours afterwards taking pictures, and then the car goes to tech. So anyway, we're going to take a break, and we come back. We'll be continuing. And if there's anything you want to talk about, just let me know. All right, and we shall be back shortly.
Hanging with the cool kids at enravio.com.
Stop putting it off and start today at Ben's Paint Station, featuring Benjamin Moore Paints, Sickens, wood finishes, paints, and professional paint supplies, ideal for contractors and homeowners, stain paints and epoxies, family owned and operated, in business for over 55 years, professional and experienced help, located at 2 locations, 55B Route 25, Quorum, Long Island, New York, and 1495 Plaza Montauk Highway, Mastic, New York. Call them at 775-7435 and 775-8135. Ben's Paint Station, featuring Benjamin Moore Paints. Log on to the Enravio Advertisers page today.
Enravio.com.
Termite Marine Contracting offers all stages of dock building, including brand new docks, repairs on existing docks, pole setting, dredging, and decking. Termite Marine Contracting covers the South Shore of Long Island from Massapequa to West Islip. With more than 25 years experience, full crews, and the right equipment for any job. Got a job you want done right? Call Termite Marine Contracting at 516-449-4567. That's 516-449-4567. Or follow us on Facebook. Termite Marine Contracting. When you want it built right.
From Long Island to the world, Enravio.com.
Okay, we're back. So getting back to Victory Lane photos. It's I was watching or reading some of the chat room. And you're absolutely right. In most cases, the cup race, there's nothing after that, so they can stay there till the sun sets and rises again. But in a weekly series, there's other divisions, there's other classes, there's other races going on, and these guys and gals, if you've ever raced, if you've ever been a race car driver on a hot August night, you see the other cars come off the track, your heart's beating, you want to go back racing, you want to go out and race, and then all of a sudden, you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you see 20 people go on a racetrack, and you're waiting. It's 90 degrees. You're sitting there, you're strapped in, you're buckled in, your helmet's on, and you're like, what the heck, come on, what the heck? Then you get out there, and who doesn't know where they're lined up, and you got to watch out for the people, because sometimes they let the people walk through the gate that you're driving on. It's one of those things that needs to be controlled in the weekly racing series racetracks across the country, and I've seen other places that Victory Lane is off the track. Victory Lane is off in between the track and the pit area. Victory Lane is on the way to the pit area, but it's off the racetrack. And while that's happening, while the announcers are doing the announcing and introducing the race sponsor and whatnot, the next race is lined up, ready to roll. And the time is not there, because people get bored with that stuff, and and I'll tell you what, I'm not going to say which racetrack it is, but I was at a racetrack that ran 4 classes one night, and of course they had their Victory Lane little thing. The Victory Lane celebration for the pictures took longer than the race itself. I'm not going to say which racetrack it was because it doesn't matter, but that's something that needs to be controlled, and how do you control that? Because if I'm the race sponsor, I want to stay there with it all night and get my name out there. But it needs to be controlled, and it needs to be in a way where I tried. What I tried is you don't need 30 people out there. 10. How many people do you need? 10. Group shot. Boom, your crew. You don't need half of the town that you're racing or you're living to come out for the picture. And I always joked around. I said, I wish I had that many people in the shop helping work on the car that show up for the picture. I know people. I look at pictures sometimes. I'm like, this person's in every picture. And what happens is you have all these people in the picture that don't belong there, and then it takes forever to get them off the racetrack, and then then you have a situation where it's the sponsors on the car aren't even seen because everybody's standing in front of the car. Stand behind the car. had one of my sponsors say, I don't want to see people in front of a race car. I want to see them behind the race car because I don't care what they look like. I want to see what's my logo. I want to see the car number. I want to see, the series. I want to see all of that stuff. It's just one of those things, and it's something that needs to be addressed, and not again at every racetrack that is involved with the weekly racing series. And I know that and it's kind of funny, WJ, and of myracenews.com. It's funny that certain people complain about something that falls on deaf ears, but if somebody in the circle complains about it, they get their way. I can't go out there. What 10 people are back? Well, you know what? I'm pulling my billboard off, and I want my money back. I'm not sponsoring the race. I'm not doing it. And they fall for this nonsense. And they fall for this nonsense. And I know exactly what you're talking about. You have people out there that don't even belong out there. And, God forbid somebody gets hurt. Then you're going to have a problem. You're really going to have a problem. So, and that's my beef for this week is Victory Lane. It's just one of those things that just is gone out of control in a lot of racetracks. And that's Victory Lane celebrations. Don't get me wrong. If I want to be out there all night if I want to race. But you know what? That's selfish. Be selfish on my part, selfish on the team. And I don't know. You like that? I noticed that myself. Oh, yeah. I don't even look at that part. I have this big monitor in front of me, and I can see the chat room and myself. So, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So you like that? That's good. And now it's in HD. You can see every imperfection that I have on me. You can see my hat has dust on it probably. But that's all right. That's all right. It's all good. It's all good. And I tell you what, guys and gals out there, we like your feedback. WJ, I just want to let you know I reviewed with the management one of your concerns from last week, and it's being addressed. In fact, WJ, if you give them a call right now, they would like to speak to you because what you say matters. So it's 1-8554-IN-RAVIO. If you have a chance to do that, they would love to speak to you because there are some people that do complain about things, but your complaints, I'm going to call your complaints more like concerns. Your concerns are very real for you to say something. So please give us a call. And Snooky Pums, whoever you are, I agree with you 100%. And it's funny. There are some people that are camera shy. They don't want to sit here. They'd rather chat in. And there are some people who, because of where we are on Long Island, it's tough for them to get here. But the anniversary show, I believe I'm going to invite 4 past guests, personally, not here on the show. Oh yes, Kevin. I thought you went to a fire department meeting, but and we're gonna have some fun that night. We're gonna have some good fun. Like I said, we're gonna bring back people who support the show and have a positive take on what we do here. And because this isn't easy, people think it's easy. People think I just come here, put on my black hat, and sit behind this desk and read the chat room and go. This is not an easy thing. But then again, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So. And I say that we're racing too. If it was easy, there'd be nobody in the stands, everybody would be on the racetrack. So, anyway, I know last week somebody talked about the roof flaps being made by Roush Fenway Racing. The new roof flaps, I was able to find out, were mandated by the shapes of the new cars, which include a great deal more of brand identity and are not uniform from one manufacturer to another. So the new roof flaps, because the roofs have to match the street cars, and like I said last week, that I was at the R&D Center and I saw that. I saw the stock production car, and next to it, the race car. And the lines were exactly the same from stock to race car. And I looked and I was like, you know what? The roofs aren't the same anymore. The trunk decks aren't the same anymore. The hoods aren't the same anymore. So the roof flaps had to be redesigned based on manufacturer. So that's one of the reasons. And the ones that were chosen by Nexar from what I understand, a multitude of testing were the ones made by Rouse Fenway Racing. So that's a good thing. I think because I'm telling you, I was at the R&D Center and I'm impressed at what they do to make racing better, to make it safer, and they listen to the feedback of the teams, all the teams, not just the big guys, not just Hendrick, not just Roush, not just Childress. They listen to all the teams. Everybody has input there, and it doesn't matter who you are or what team you're from. NASCAR does listen to that, and believe it or not, I've made some suggestions over the last couple of years that I have seen come into play, and there's one that I worked on in 2011 and 2012. It looks like it may happen in 2014, and I'm not going to say what that is if everything goes as it was planned, because I as a former racer, and I didn't race modifieds at my local racetrack, but as a race car driver, mediocre at best, I'll be the first one to say that, and a guy who got hurt in a race car, there are certain things that I would like to see, and one of the things that I still can't get it into them yet, I really think, and this is just my opinion, especially on a modified race car where the driver cannot get out of the race car in any other manner other than the driver's door. So here we have a situation, God forbid. The guy goes barreling down the straightaway. He gets turned around and he goes bashing into the wall, driver's side into the wall. Got to cut him out. Now there are 3 Zeus fasteners across the roof. If you pop those 3, you can bend the roof back. Well, how about a quick release roof? A quick release roof, similar to the quick release on the window net, where the driver, as long as he's got his wits about him, could reach up, pop, the roof springs open. He or she then could stand up. If they're not injured. Hopefully they're not. I'm thinking that's the way to go. I have a design for it. I've sent it down a couple of times. They're not too thrilled about that because there's other things that they feel that are more important to work on, and that's okay. I respect that, but I really do think that a quick release roof hatch, not just a hatch, the whole roof, you boom, boom, and it opens up. If they would have had that, something like that when I wrecked, they would have got me out a lot easier. Because what they ended up doing is they ended up cutting the door bars. And they ended up cutting this bar that's right here and the door bars. And even after that, they had trouble getting me out. They still had to rip the roof off and pull me up from the top anyway. So if you had a quick release, I mean, it's simple. At that point, the dust is settled. You're against the wall. The red flag's out. Nobody's rolling. You can take off your belts, pop your belts off, you lean forward, boom, the roof shoots up. Put the roof on a spring. Cost-wise, it would be very inexpensive. You have, and WJ, you're right. There's so many bars. The window opening on the driver's side is 13.5 inches. I mean, come on. You can't get a big guy. You got to have trouble. I hope this never happens, but God forbid a guy the size of Johnny Bush gets into a wreck where they got to take him out. He actually made a little door flap for him to slide out, which was approved by NASCAR. He wasn't the first one to do it. I believe it was Carl Pasturak made a flap because, not that he was a tall guy, but he was bulky and stocky, and he had trouble climbing through that window. There you go. And he got that approved by NASCAR back in the Ed Cox days, and then Johnny Bush has it, and it's. I'll tell you what, I would love to see that in more cars. I can't see that. I can't say a person's fat. Fat. And again, that's a relative term too. Right? But stuff like that I'd like to see. I like the idea that they kind of moved the seat over a little bit. give it more room on the inside. You know, it's almost like a car of tomorrow thing. You learn from the tragedies. You learn from the wrecks. You learn from almost tragedies, like with the windshield. For years and years and years, he went with that curved windshield, and because of what happened with Brian Shue and a motor part going through his windshield and hitting his helmet and breaking the helmet. The way the windshield was designed, nobody ever really thought about that. And one of my suggestions was a full windshield. That screen is good. That's on the right side. The 2x3 wire screen, that's good. It should be a full windshield, in my opinion. But I think that what would happen, I think what they're trying to avoid, is making the cars more aero, because they don't want the air to go hit the windshield and cause downforce. They want the air to go through the car and hit the rear spoiler and hold it back into the car that way. Is the center where you want to put? I don't know. Maybe there is something to be said about putting them in the center like the dirt cars. It's definitely it would be a crew chief's nightmare for a setup on asphalt, because dirt cars drive a little bit different. But I also think that there's other changes that would have to go with that. Just like when they came out with the seatbelt rule, and cars were flipping and guys were breaking their necks because they couldn't get out of the car. Well, then they had to add a roll bar, and then they had to add other bars. Then they had to have a bar so that the roll bar didn't crush, and then they had a bar for this, and then they had to have a Graniacho bar so the front ends, and it just kept evolving over time. All good. Many rule changes brought about due to tragedies that happen. And you learn from the mistakes. And you know what, I'm a firm believer is everything happens for a reason. And maybe some of those tragedies happened, not that you sacrificed the guy, but you learn from that guy so that others don't get injured or have a problem. So it's one of those, what I say, it's all good. It's all good. Anyway, what do we have? Front Row Motorsports hires 2 crew chiefs. Frank Kerr will serve as crew chief for David Gillian's number 38 Ford, and Steve Lane will serve as crew chief for Josh Wise's number 26. Lane first became a crew chief in 2002 for Kyle Petty's number 45 Dodge. Lane also has experience with Front Row. He led John Andretti in the 34 car in 2009, and then Travis Quaffle in 2010. Kerr joins Front Row with 151 races under his belt, 104 of which came from 2009 to 11 with JTG Dougherty Racing. So there's some changes in the crew chief ranks. And there's always situations with crew chiefs where, they go from team to team and they take some of the secrets, so to speak, with them, but then there's certain crew chiefs that just don't go anywhere. And I'd be interested to see what would happen with Chad Knaus if him and Jimmy Johnson ever split up, or if Jimmy Johnson decided to do something else, because I think that would be interesting. Really do. I think that would be big. I think that would really be big, because Chad Knaus is going to be, and you mark my words, Chad Knaus is going to be like a Robin Pemberton. He's going to show up working in the R&D center. He's going to be like some kind of director guy, because, and not that Robin Pemberton stretched the rules. He worked within the rules that were given to him, and because he was able to be so good at it, he's good at what he does now. And I think that's where you're going to see Chad Knaus. I think the rigors and the grind of being a crew chief, working 7 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year, are going to catch up with him. And he's going to say one day, maybe I need to do something else. So, just my opinion. I'm entitled to that, I guess. Some people might disagree, but that's okay, because that's why you tune in. You see what I'm going to say next. And what else did I want to tell you about? Michael Waltrip. He's going to team up with 2012 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series runner-up Clint Boyer in the Rolex 24 on January 26th and 27th at Daytona. This will be Waltrip's second Rolex 24. He has done some stuff, road racing in overseas, but it'll be interesting to see Michael and Clint in the Rolex series. Michael's a pretty good guy, but what's kind of funny? I hope they have like an automatic seat, because Michael Waltrip's like 6'7", 6'8", and Clint Boyer is like 5'11", and that 6 inches is a big difference. A big difference. And Michael's also tall in the torso as well as tall in his legs. So it's going to be interesting to watch. Either Michael's going to squeeze in, or they're going to like glue like blocks to Clint Boyer's shoes so he can reach the pedals. Because I don't know how they're going to do that. I really don't know how they're going to do that. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see moving forward. And I'll tell you what, I love when the Cup guys go to the Rolex Series, because a lot of people think that oval track drivers, oval track drivers don't have any driving ability. It's go fast, turn left, and you do that for like 4 hours. But when you get these guys on a road course, I think they're very successful. I think they prove that they could drive race cars. And but like WJ's a poor Clint. Now he can't possibly win. Hey, I'll tell you what, Michael Waltrip has been successful in that type of racing. I often wonder why Michael elects to pick and choose the races that he races his own race cars in, and he has when he enters that third car. But I think Michael's become a smart car owner. See, you can't be the boss and the horse at the same time. You have to, how can I put this? My father once told me, do one thing and do that one thing good. Don't do 3 things half-assed. Just do that one thing. Be focused on what you do. Because when you're focused on what you do, you look at things from a whole different perspective. I mean, I'm sure if Michael Waltrip was driving for any other team back when Michael Waltrip Racing was struggling, Michael Waltrip would have been fired. Now, it's hard to go to the boardroom where he's sitting there in front of everybody and he says, all right, what's wrong with the team? Well, it's this, it's that, it's the other thing. Nobody in that room is going to say it's the driver, because he's the boss. He signs their checks. Now I've met Michael Waltrip. He's a great guy. I've sat with him. I've chat with him. I followed him around at a racetrack because somebody wanted to meet him. I've also ridden an elevator in Charlotte with him, a bunch of floors, and broke his chops a little bit. Had some fun with him about his fan base and how the only fan he had was in the elevator. But we have some fun, and he's a good guy. He's a real good guy, and he was able to, with help, save Michael Waltrip Racing. And if you read his book that he wrote, and the title of his book escapes me. I had it on here once on the show. He put in there that whole thing that Michael Waltrip Racing was shutting down, and he made a phone call to somebody, and the guy said, "Listen, I'll give you whatever you need to go racing." And they saved the company, and they've been successful this year. I mean, you have Clint Boyer, runner-up in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. That's no easy task. And no, it wasn't Toyota money. He did get help from Toyota, but there was an individual from the United Kingdom that wrote him a big check. He said, "What is it going to take to save Michael Waltrip Racing?" And it was actually a friend of his ex-wife that was able to make this happen, because they did part friends. Him and Buffy did part friends, and that's a whole other story. One day I don't think I'll talk about it on the show. I might write about it, because everything I write about, as you know, is fictional. So, but we could talk about that someday, because he is a good guy, and he is a hard-working guy, and he just wants to make it happen. He wants to be successful. His super speedway stuff works very well, in my opinion, and I think in 2013 you're going to see his teams also successful in the short tracks. So it should be good. It should be good for Michael Waltrip's Racing. And with that, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back. We'll continue what we're doing, and we'll be back.
1, 2, 3, 4.
What do I find?
Diner and Restaurant. Steaks, chops, wraps, breakfast skillets. The Mauritius Bay, 62 Montauk Highway in Mauritius, New York. 878-6827. The Mauritius Bay Diner and Restaurant in New York.
I get so lost. InRavio.com.
Sud City Car Wash, Montauk Highway in Mastic, Long Island, New York. $9.99 early bird special Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. Phone 395-6114. Sud City Car Wash. Hand washes, hand waxes, and detailing. Interior cleaning, brushless car wash club. Simonized products. Sud City Car Wash. Montauk Highway in Mastic, Long Island, New York.
This isn't your grandfather's radio. Not even close. This is InRavio.com.
Hey, we're back. We're back. Yeah, in the new format here. This is real interesting, but I learned the old one, so this will be good. I didn't. Jay said I was not a techie guy, man. When I was in high school, we first did computers. One of the teachers I had, this guy, Mr. Paul Albert, he had season tickets to the New York Jets. And he did this, we had a monthly test, what it was, and he said, all right, listen, what we're going to do is whoever gets the highest grade on this test is going to get my Jet tickets. I got 2 tickets. And it was about computers and stuff. And he said, if the guy who wins or gal who wins can't go, goes to the second, third, fourth, fifth, first. So here I am. I did real good on the test, but 50% of the test was multiple choice, and the other 50% of the test was logging into the computer and answering questions on the computer. So as you can guess, I got a 50 on the test because I got 100 on the question part, but I couldn't do the computer part. And all I had to type, it turned out, at the time was R space basic. Not as like in Kevin Basic, but basic, B-A-S-I-C. And I couldn't figure that out. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. They had an abacus back then, WJ, when you went to high school? They didn't even have high school. Did you go to that one-room schoolhouse where the first row was kindergarten and the 12th row was 12th grade? Is that how that worked back then? Because, I don't know, I'm only kidding. You're probably not, you're a little bit older than me. Maybe 10 years or so. Because I know, just from our conversations, where you've been and where I didn't have to go because I was too young. So, an 8-sided building. I was in 8 okay. I should have went to school in a 5-sided building called the Pentagon, but that didn't work out either. But it's all good. It really is. I'm having fun tonight. It's all good. I have a couple of people in Studio A stop by to say hello. Welcome, Sean, and his looks like his bodyguard came with him today. He stopped by to say hello. It's son's crew chief, his son Brian, who drives a blunderbuss here on Long Island, Brian Hansen. So they stopped by to say hello, and so always a welcome. Because they missed the food in studio, they missed the shrimp and broccoli, and I think there were egg rolls too. I'm not sure, and maybe a soup. I heard some slurping before. I didn't get the soup, not even the egg roll, not even like the crumbs, But that's all right, because she works hard. And I'd be lost without her. Trust me, believe me when I tell you, I would be totally lost without her. And sometimes you might see like a shadow. She usually crawls on her hands and knees and comes around the console, and her hand comes over like the Thing on the Addams Family and presses buttons for me because I hit the wrong thing or I left the mic on, which I've done once or twice. But it's one of those things. Anyway, so I want to go back to this battle at the beach here, the UNOH battle at the beach, because I'm concerned. Well, I'm concerned, and I'm going to say it again. When the NASCAR Whelen Modified Champion Doug Colby, with guaranteed spots, as he put it to me, spots, can't get a ride, there's something wrong with that picture. And I know the cost to go down there is insane, and $1,500 to take the green is not even covering the hauler fuel cost, let alone and I don't know this. I didn't see the entry blank, and maybe I should have looked at it, but my car owner-ness did not get me on that list, and I don't understand why. But anyway, wow, I just realized that. I'm not sure if you get to buy 8 tires or 10 tires, which is another big cost at $750 a set. And because I don't believe this race is going to be part of the bonus program, so you're paying for all 10 tires. So that's $2,000. By the time you all figure it out with everything, it's going to be like a $2,000 thing. You're going to need 50-60 gallons of fuel. So that's another $600-700. Plus your pit fees, your entry fees, your hotel, your food. I think the guy that wins is going to lose money. It's $20,000 to win. They're still going to lose money, I think. But I don't want to be negative, because I think it's a good thing. I think it's good to have the modifieds at Daytona during speed weeks. I think it's the way for them to go. I think that moving forward, it's something that should be part of the show. We'll see how this backstretch racing works on a flat track. I would love to see the modifieds race on the big track. I'd be curious to see how they would go on 2.5 miles with a small restrictor plate, maybe a 3/8 plate. Because when they went down there years ago, and I'm talking years ago, before, I believe it was before the Tour, and Richie Evans, Lord rest his soul, blew the Cup cars away time. And I know he had a Camaro body on it with all kinds of aero stuff on it. They were just too fast. And Bill France says, we can't have this. So they never had them back. Maybe they need to go to a bigger plate. I don't know. But they need to go to a plate that they can still pass each other. Not that they're flat-footed all the way around the racetrack. Well, that becomes boring. You want to see the passing. Like New Hampshire with the plate. If it wasn't for the draft, there would be no passing there. And I know I'm going to get some nasty grams on that one too. But it's something I think that needs to be looked at. And I just wish the money situation was a little bit better. They have a gazillion guaranteed. If you want to race, you're guaranteed in. If you finish this, you're guaranteed in. There's the list of guaranteed starters. When you got guaranteed starters that aren't going because their car owners can't afford it, that's when I think NASCAR needs to step up to the plate and send a little envelope up to that team owner. Hopefully this helps you out. Because doing it after the fact, like Bob Baer does it Loudon, which is a great thing, but logistically you're not talking apples to apples. But NASCAR needs to step to the plate and cover some costs for these guys. These aren't Cup cars. They're not nationwide cars. They're not owned by billion-dollar corporations. These cars are owned by hard-working men and women who go to work Monday to Friday and go racing on the weekends. Now you have these guys got to leave. Guys up in Northern, and that's where most of the Northern Modified guys live. That's why it's called the NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour, Northern Tour. They live in Connecticut. They live in Massachusetts. They live upstate New York. They live in the west end of Pennsylvania. This is a 20-hour trip, 24-hour trip for them with a hauler. You can get in your car and get down there in 17 hours, But, and so I agree. They should at least cover the cost of the drivers with guarantees. But what cost do we cover? Do we cover the driver's expenses to get down? Do we cover the car owner? See, that's the other problem you have with some car owners. You don't know what deal they have with their driver. Okay, I know of a driver or a future driver, whoever you want to call him. His deal is fuel and tires, and it's fuel for the hauler. That driver is not going to put $2,000 in diesel fuel in a hauler to drive 3,000 miles, 15 down and 15 back. That's not happening. Right? He's not buying 10 tires, and he's not buying barrel fuel. That's not happening, because if he came in third, he'd still be deep in the hole, and he didn't eat yet or have a drink of water. Something to think about. I think that's what was lost here. Everybody got so excited. They all got excited. Oh, hey, we're going. Hey, Daytona, great. Then they looked at the logistics. They looked at the logistics, and they said, whoa, as exciting as that good that might be, maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe we can't do that, because this event is going to cost them a small fortune. Where's that money going to come from? That money is going to come from money that they'd budgeted, hopefully, to race the 2013 season. So if they blow their whole checkbook at the Battle of the Beach, what's going to happen to the 2013 season? Not going to be there. And and the series is hurting for cars as it is. And when I say hurting for cars, and I'm not even going that far back. We're talking that these guys, the modified series, and this one I could talk about because I was there, would have 40 to 50 cars at any given venue. And I can remember coming to Long Island to a quarter-mile bull ring, and over 60 cars showed up for 28 spots. Think about that. A lot of guys went home. Past champions went home. Because the difference between the pole at Riverhead, that race, the difference between the pole sitter, the fast time guy, and the first go home car was 0.2 of a second. Very competitive field. A lot of guys were very unhappy. All right? And yeah, like WJ says, he dropped covered. WJ goes to the races. He covers these races, and for the most part, from what I understand, he's digging in his pocket. He's to go to these places because nobody's giving him a free ride. Nobody's saying, WJ, here's a check, come cover our race. He's doing this on his own, out of the love of the sport, and I commend him for that. My love of the sport has kind of gone away. It's not. I'm not down. I learned that it was a business. I learned it was a business at the end of the 2002 season, and we'll save that for another show. But the cost of going to these things, I mean, the price of fuel. I mean, come on, it's the cost. It's just so expensive. And then you want to have a team, and what are they going to do for crews? Yeah, there are some teams that are going to piggyback with each other. They're going to double up, and guys at the big haulers, they're going to put 2 cars. They're going to bring their buddy down and split the expenses, and that's a great thing, and that's what this sport's all about, working together. But what do you do? I could picture this now. Let's say, hypothetically, I'm gonna go down and race this thing, and I don't know. We'll pick a guy. We'll pick Ken Hagee, and because Ken Hagee lives maybe a half hour away from me, and he says to me, "Hey Joe, you know what? Let's put your car in my hauler. We'll split the cost going down. That's great. We have a ball going down. We stop and eat. His wife makes some gentle shots, and we have a good time, and everything. It's all good. And we're racing. We're going nice and good. We're both sitting there in the top 10. See, it's fake. It's facetious. I wouldn't be in the top 10. And I get into him. I send him flying into the fence. I'm finding a way home, not only for me and for my race car. That's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't know. It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing to look at. I think it needed to be planned a little bit better. Just like when the NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour went to Ontario, Canada, when they went to Delaware Speedway in Canada, and they went in September. And the problem with that was, if the team wasn't in the top 20 in points, they didn't go because of the cost. Because they had nothing to gain. The guy in 21st sat there and said, "Right, if I win the race, I'm still going to be 21st. So I'm not going to make the bonus plan. I'm not going to be in the bank with getting a nice little plaque." So that guy stayed home. So everybody after him stayed home as well. In fact, I think the guy in 20th place stayed home because he couldn't move into 19th. But if that race would have been in June, where you still have money, you still have your sponsorship money, and you still have a shot, you're saying, it's like opening day. Everybody opening day thinks they're going to win the championship. Well, has a shot at it. And every race, subsequent race after that, you realize, all right, let's shoot for a top 5. Then the top 5 is, let's shoot for a top 10. Then it's, all right, maybe we could be in the top 20 so we get a point fund check. So that's the thinking. That is the thinking. Yeah, exactly. Some of the top 20 didn't go either. And because it was done at the wrong time. And that's one of the things, and I've said this on the show, NASCAR don't make the schedule. The promoter at that racetrack said, "I have a slot for you in September. That's what it is. Just like Thompson Speedway in Connecticut, Thompson International Speedway. This is when I want you. You're the first point race, you're the last point race, and we'll pick a couple in the middle. Well, this year they picked one in the middle. You know? Just like Bristol. You know? You have some guys that didn't go because it's costly. And the race is in the middle of the week, and guys that's sharing crews. They were sharing their crews, and you know, it almost becomes an exhibition at that point. You know, I was on the phone with a crew chief yesterday when we talked about this. We talked about, you know, when you have these midweek shows and you have these long distance races where you have to decide if you're going or not. He says, you know, because there's a potential for 3 cars with this guy, the team that he's involved with. And he says, hey, we can't get 3 cars to some of these far races. We can get 2, but we can't get 3. And then it was like, you know, unless the third driver has a way to get it there himself or herself. And, you know, we talked, and we talked about the expense, and we talked about what it costs to run a modified tour car. And the middle of the pack guys spending $100,000. The top 10 guys are spending close to $200,000. And when it's all said and done, the guys in the top 3 that shot for the championship, that have a shot at the last race of the year, those guys spent almost $300,000 to go racing. Now, when it was all said and done, they went to the banquet, they went down to Charlotte, they brought their crews, their spouses, their significant others, and anybody else involved with the team and whatnot. And, you know, it cost them $20,000, $30,000 to go, and then so that gets added on to what it cost them. And they were lucky to see $100,000. Now, a lot of people tell me we're not in this race business to make money. And you know what? Some people aren't. But you know what? You don't want to go bankrupt. You don't want to take from your home. And I know, I'll tell you what, I know some race car drivers that have been in this business all their lives, and racing is their whole life. And you know, they're good, hardworking people. And you know, if you know, it's kind of funny. You know, a guy has one of the best looking race cars, the best equipment money could buy, and he has a car to go to work that he has to worry about if it's going to get him home at the end of the day. But his race car is pristine. It's perfect. Because that's, you know, as my dad used to say, you know, maybe your priorities are in the wrong place. But you know what? That guy's happy. He's enjoying it. You know, to him, that's his golf day. You know, like the golfing guy. Goes to 4 o'clock. He works all week. He works 60, 70 hours in corporate America, and he works all week. And Saturday morning, instead of sleeping and have breakfast with his family when he can, he's at the golf course. He wants a tee time, so he's there at 5 o'clock in the morning. And he plays golf. He plays 2 rounds of golf, and he gets pissed off, and he throws his clubs in the water. He beats it against the tree because, I don't know, he sliced into the woods or something. But next week he's back there playing golf again, just like the race guy. It's a passion. It's what we do. It's what we do, like the fishermen. You know, my buddy Bill has a boat, and he goes fishing as often as he can. Excuse me, and he don't care if he doesn't catch a fish. He's on the railing of his boat. He's bobbing and weaving. The seagulls are chirping, and he hears the water splashing against the hull of the boat. And to him, that's a relaxing day. Might have cost him $1,500 for fuel for his boat, for the cruise around the troll, whatever. It's just like racing. It's just like racing, you know. But I always approach racing as a business, and I've always said that, and I've said that a dozen times in this show. You got to approach your race team as a business, and your business has to be profitable to maintain the business. And when you can't be profitable, it's like any other business. You got to shut the doors. You got to walk away, or you have to reevaluate, or you have to regroup. Excuse me. Racing is an expensive sport. It's only getting more expensive. And what's happening? And one of my gripes about racing is that the price of the tires go up every year. The price of fuel goes up every year. The price of parts go up every year. The price to ship the parts to get to you goes up every year. And the purses stay the same or become less. And the weekly tracks blame it on sponsorship. Oh, well, we lost that sponsor. Oh, the sponsor we had for your division that used to give us a lot of money doesn't give us a lot of money anymore. And blah, 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 and blee, 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 and all this other nonsense. You know, but as they're complaining to you that there's no money on Monday mornings, they're going to the bank with all this cash that they made. And don't get me wrong, I don't begrudge anybody to make money. You know, you're in business to make money, whether you're the promoter or the race car driver. But it seems like it's an unfair balance. It's an unfair balance because, how can I put this? And I'm going to pick on my blunderbuss guys that race blunderbuss here on Long Island. And blunderbuss, for those who don't know, it's a full-bodied, full-size, 4,200-pound race car that is pretty much stock appearing. Now you got some money in the motors, and I know guys are spending $8,000-9,000 for a motor in this division, and guys who are spending $2,000 on transmissions, and they're spending another $1,000 on rears, and they're spending $500 a week on tires to win $105. That's what first place plays in this, and I'm going to call it an entry-level division because that's what it says in the rule book. In this entry-level division, and that got out of control. Years ago, you had to run like street tires, and there was a claimer on the motor and all that. But what has happened is that got out of control. It got out of control, and whose fault is that? Is it the race teams because they're spending more money? Is it the officials because they're allowing some of this stuff to go in? And I'm going to tell you this. I don't know if I ever shared this on this show, but I can remember a night towards the end of the season, and I'm going to say it was maybe 08, 07. I'm not really sure. I didn't plan on talking about this, otherwise I wanted to do the date. You have a guy win a race. Second place guy who's battling it for the point championship comes in second place. He protests the first place guy. Legitimate protest. He did it all right within the rules. The officials don't know what to do because the guy's right. So the first place guy, because he's going to play, tit for tat, he's going to protest something on that guy's car. That guy's car's no good. So now they realize that the infraction had to do with front end components. So they're going to go to the third place guy to see what he's got because those first two guys are disqualified now so far. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh have the same stuff. Maybe it wasn't policed properly all season long, but nonetheless, they had the same illegal parts. So I'm watching this happen because my car finished ninth. So I go up to the head guy and I said, when are you going to declare my driver the winner? Because I don't have that. And they looked at each other and they go, oh, we got to talk about this. That night, right then and there, they changed the rule, allow that guy to have what he had. You can't do that. You can't do that. And that's another problem. You make rules as you go along. You can't change. The guy's illegal. Done. Whoop. DQ, no points, no money. Don't race again till you fix it. You don't change the rule. That's how an entry-level division got out of control. They allowed a guy the guy should have been in late models. He built this gorgeous, I'll tell you what, this car was gorgeous, and it had the best of everything. But it was a 4,200-pound late model that he probably cost around $20,000 to build. If he won every race, they race about 15 a year. If he ran every race for 10 years, he wouldn't make his money back on that race car. And remember, well, WJ, yeah, it's true. But they allowed it. And then when he sold the car, the guy that bought the car, he shows up the opening night with it, and they give him a list of things he has to change. Well, why was it okay for the other guy to race that way? See, this doesn't just happen on Long Island. This happens everywhere. Just like, and I can remember the day Doug Hobie, we're at Waterford Speedboat. I'm up in the tower getting ready to do the modification. And I go up to the tower to kind of push their show along so that our race starts on time. So Doug Hobie's in the SK. Doug Hobie wins. He just happens to be there with an SK car because he's a racer. He races whatever he can. He wins the race. He beats out their track favorite point leader guy. The owner of the racetrack gets on his cell phone, not even the track phone, gets on his cell phone, and he says, do what you got to do. Doug Hobie can't win that race. Okay. Next day, I hear the announcer say, Doug Hobie was disqualified. He was an eighth of an inch too low. Now, how are you eighth of an inch too low? You let air out of the tires? Because he was getting a flat. They didn't even let him air up the tire. He was getting a flat too, because I remember that was one of the complaints. How do you do that? See, that's the stuff that goes on. And you're right, WJ. It's an ego machine for a lot of these people. On both ends, promoter competitor. It's an ego machine. They have to have the best. Want to be the big fish in a little pond, you know. And I've seen guys that are the big fish in a little pond at many a racetrack, many a division over the years. And the big fish in the little pond becomes when it is time for him or her to move to another class, to move up. They're not successful. They're not successful. Okay, and why is that? You know, I look at guys and gals who race some of the weekly tracks, and they are the top guys, the front runners, the top girls, whatever. They're the front runners. They're winning championships. They're in the top 5 in all-time wins. And then they go race another racetrack, and they barely qualify, and they run in the back. Why is that? I'll tell you why it is. Because they don't know the tech people. They're not sharing Ling-Lings with them. They're not sharing hamburgers and hot dogs. What they're doing is, you know, and how do I say this? I don't know if I could sit in my den, put my feet back, have a nice glass of wine, and smoke a nice expensive Cuban cigar, and look at that trophy that I got by cheating. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I can enjoy that. And you know what? You know, when I sit back and look at the trophies that I have, you know, one was for wrecking and almost killing myself. So I definitely don't sit back with a glass of wine and a Cuban cigar and look at that one. I mean, it's there, but you know, every once in a while people say, "Oh, what's that one for?" And I said, "I had a pretty wild crash," you know. And the other one is because I got let go by a racetrack, and a certain organization put me in their Hall of Fame, not because I was a Hall of Fame race car driver, because they wanted to annoy the promoters. So they put me in the Hall of Fame. And that it's funny that year that the racetrack boycotted the banquet that I got my plaque in, which is good. I didn't need to have them there anyway. But so you know, I look at some of the hardware I've earned over the year, and it's for stupid things in racing. Even like I won an award at the officials banquet that NASCAR had in Charlotte this past year, and it was, you know, like a joke thing, because it's a joke awards that they give to the officials to kind of make fun of you. And 2 years in a row, I got one of these joke awards, and of course I put it on the trophy shelf with all the others, but it's one of those things. And you know, Jay's like, yeah, it is legalized payoffs. I had a driver one year. He gave me an American Express Gold card and told me, "There's no limit. Whatever I need, go do it." I handed it back to him. But I went out of my office and handed it back to him, because I didn't want him to say, "I'm going to give Joe the American Express Gold card. You know, this way I got him." So I walked out of my office and said, "Oh, by the way, so-and-so, here's your Gold card back. I don't take payoffs." You know? Oh yeah, it was worse. It was worse every day than the flying fickle finger of fate. The first one I got, the one I got last year, I've been nominated for many. And they do it like in Academy Awards. The nominees are, and then they announce your name and what the series is. And the winner is, and they explain why you win. Well, last year I got the Ace in the Hole Award. And the little thing that I got, the little plaque on it, says that I got the Ace in the Hole Award because I am always able to pull an ace out of my sleeve when I need to, and that I can often be found in competitors' haulers during rain delays, eating and drinking. Okay, well, all right. That's not totally far from the truth, you know. Then this past year I got what award did I get? Oh man, the Bull Shirt Award I think I got. No. Oh, I can't remember what it was, but it had to do with yeah, that's it. I got the Big Bass Award. There's a big fish that they had a bass on this little thing, and it said get the Big Bass Award because when you go bass fishing, you got to go angling. You know, you got to go angling. I'm not a fisherman, so I think that's the right term. I think that's what they said, and they said that I was always angling out of the hard jobs, and not that I was, you know, trying to get out of hard work. But my father told me to work smart, not hard. So I work smart. If they want to work hard, that's their business. You know, how many times you got to set up the scales and take them down and reset them up? So the black. I got this new haircut now. I don't know if you can see it on the TV. I got this new haircut. In fact, I'm due for a haircut tomorrow. I'm going to go every 2 weeks to get my haircut. You know, because it's just a new look. You know. But you never mind. When I get back from Daytona, it might be a new hat too. I don't know if it's going to be a black one. Okay, because I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf here, guys and gals. You know, I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. It's not easy being the bad guy all the time. You know, but I don't know. We do. See, Mr. Slice, you know. And Mr. Slice, you missed an awesome card game. Awesome card game. It was great. It was good to have the old guys back together. You know, and telling stories and it's funny for those who are, you know, when I got there a little bit early, and you're never going to believe, Jay Slice, and you'll appreciate this. You'll never believe what Bill's wife was cooking on the stove. She was cooking my special hamburgers. And it just happened to be one of the funniest things. And because I had gotten there early, she goes, "Oh, I can't believe you're here early. I would have made you hamburger." And Bill goes, "Yeah, these are the special hamburgers." And then Gravel showed up, my man Gravel, who I think is also on the show sometimes as the Hairy Man. But it's all good. It's all good, and we have a good time. We talk racing, and we go from there. But anyway, I just said Mike Muse, the 2012 figure eight champion on Long Island, points champion, was scheduled to appear next week on the show. Somebody had said earlier we need a guest, and Mike Muse has agreed. Mike Muse was concerned about coming on our show. He was concerned that he was going to get beat up by the fan base. He thought he was going to be embarrassed by me, and I told him to look at an archive show to see what we're all about, and that we try to have a good time. And speaking to his car owner, albeit through the computer. They're going to come, I believe, next Monday is the night. His other driver, Tom Ferrara, who happens to be my cousin. He was on the show earlier in the year, I believe last year. I guess because it was last year, because this is 2013 and it's only 3 weeks old. Tom had a good time on the show, so we make it fun. As you know, WJ was a guest on the show. Brian Cicella, when he drove me, was a guest on the show. So we had some good stuff. We had some good people. We had some fun. Brian Shue, another guest on the show. We had Tom Kraft, TK Tom Kraft. Interesting show when he came on. I don't know what happened to the real Tom Kraft that day, because the one that came was praising people that he cursed to me about on the phone that afternoon, but that's okay. And WJ, you're welcome here anytime, WJ. In fact, and I said I wasn't going to do this, but WJ, you're one of the people who will be invited to the anniversary show. And get to partake in so many festivities in Studio A. But we had Burt Myers on the show, and it's kind of funny with Burt, because Burt called me up that afternoon and said that Monday nights is they go over the race car from the weekend, and he said, and I quote, "My daddy said I got 15 minutes and I got to get to work." So at 7:30 when he called in, I had to kick him off at 8:45 because I still had things to talk about. So, you know, and unfortunately we can't fly Bird up and make that happen, but we'll do that. Marty Himes, another great guest that we had. You know, Mike Gravel Buska, a multi-time demolition champion on the show. And then a guest I'm sure that everybody will probably love to forget was my publisher, Jeffrey J. Neubauer, president and CEO of PK Books. He was on as well. So. But I'm going to do this week. I'm going to sit down with the powers to be and determine who we're going to invite. But WJ is definitely one of the top guys, and a staunch supporter of 505 On and InRavio.com. Our website, our link to our website is on his website, and we appreciate that. And you know, WJ he tells like it is: who, what, when, where, and how much. Puts no spin on it. It's just the facts. You know, like the Sergeant Joe Friday, just the facts, man, just the facts. With that, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back and continue on as to what we're talking about. We'll be back.
InRavio. Transmitter? We don't need no stinking transmitter. Welcome to InRavio.com.
Termite Marine Contracting offers all stages of dock building, including brand new docks, repairs on existing docks, pole setting, dredging, and decking. Termite Marine Contracting covers the South Shore of Long Island from Massapequa to West Islip. With more than 25 years experience, full crews, and the right equipment for any job. Got a job you want done right? Call Termite Marine Contracting at 516-449-4567. That's 516-449-4567. Or follow us on Facebook. Termite Marine Contracting. When you want it built right.
Radio.com.
Glitz and Glam Boutique. Book your little princess's party today. Glamorous birthday parties. Girls' Day out packages. Hair accessories and jewelry. 5A Canal Street, Center Merchants, Long Island, New York. Phone 631-909-7428.
Broadcasting worldwide in Radio.com.
Hey guys, this is Bonnie from Two Guys and a Chick Show. Watch us Wednesday nights, 7 to 9 Eastern Time, where we talk about stupid news, email bag, and all-around BS. Two Guys and a Chick Show on InRadio.com, broadcasting to the world.
You can illustrate your life in romance.
Hey, we're back. We are back. So anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to the 2013 season. My plans are still kind of, not that they're up in the air. I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm just not ready to say. So I've been doing this for a long time. Not this show. I mean, this show. I can't believe it's going to be 2 years. But I've been involved with racing. I've been an official since '97, and and that's a long time. And I've been all over this country racing, and I've been all over this country doing my stuff. And it may be time to do something else. You get a wake-up call every once in a while, and I think I mentioned it briefly last week. Friends of mine, or a friend of mine, lost a battle with cancer at 56 years old, and this person lived their life. They lived their life, and I look back at all the things that maybe I didn't get to do because of racing. That maybe it's time to do some of those things, and I don't know. Getting together with my buddies to play cards. We haven't played cards in such a long time, and we decided to play. And I don't know. And then Jay Slice is one of the guys that normally plays with us early. He had a thing going on with a new business, and I want to wish him and everybody involved with his new business. I want to wish them well. What is it? National Furniture Service will be up and running in 2/1/13, so that's a good thing. I looked at and Harry Man, and you're right, man. If you're doing what you love, it's not work. And I'll tell you what, I look back at officiation, and don't be wrong, there were nightmare days. There were like days when people threatened to shoot me, when people called my house and said they're going to get the kids out, they're going to blow it up. People called my family and said, "Don't wait up. Joe's not coming home." Those weren't the fun times. But there was some awesome times. We had some laughs, and I got some stories to tell about some of the stuff we did, and I'm telling them, and I'm having fun doing that. Even back in the racing days. I mean, I first buckled into a race car in 1977 at Riverhead Raceway, and then after that, the following year in '78, I was at Islip, and then '79, '80, and then on and off until Islip closed, and then I took some time off as a driver and helped a couple of people, and it's and I look back and I met some great people in racing, as those in the racing circle know, and the things that you do. And there's also people that weren't so great, that you meet. But you know what? When I look back, the not so great ones, their stuff is starting to fade from the memories, and the great ones are just right there in the forefront, and this racing thing, and the people who own this in radio. The best thing about that is I met them at the racetrack, and it turned out that I had met the wife of the owner of the racetrack at a wedding, at a family wedding. It turns out her family member married my family member. And then you look back and say, holy cow, we didn't know that. But you meet people in racing, and you never, and I've read this somewhere, this isn't a joke quote, but, people come in and out of your life, and you don't know why or how, but, they come into your life for a reason. And, and yeah, WJ, there's more good than bad. And I look back, and I'm grateful for the people, most of the people I've met in racing. And you know when you realize who your friends are in racing is when something happens, when your race car's wrecked, or when you're wrecked and people come visit you, you know who your friends are. And and yeah, you can. The social media, if you don't want to be friends with those people, you can block them, which I've done. and it's kind of funny. Like I get these. Everybody knows about Facebook, and you get these friends requests, and a lot of them are racing people, and people want to be my friends. So I deny them, but before I denied them, I sent them a little email. You didn't want to be my friend at the racetrack. Why do you want to be my friend now? It's just some of the things that I do, because I could be sarcastic and at times, and I don't know, but I don't know where you're going with that, WJ. So it's funny. I have a day job. I'm sure some of you folks are aware that I do have a day job, and it was only supposed to be a few hours a day, a few days a week, and I joke around how I got sucked in, and you can only be sucked in if you want to be sucked in, and I'm having a ball. It's not the type of job where there's, at least for me, there isn't any stress, and I get to talk to people, and it's funny. Every once in a while I'll have a NASCAR hat or a coat or something, or a jacket, and somebody will say, "Oh, you're a NASCAR fan," and then when I get into the conversation, no, I'm an official. I do this, and oh, okay, and it becomes I don't know. The day just flies by because you get to talk to people, and I get to talk about my passion. My passion is racing. It just is, and it's a good thing. It's good, and yes, Gravel did announce that at our card game that 2013 he will run his last Demolition Derby. He's done a lot of demo racing over the years, and I'll tell you what, we have a long-standing, I don't want to call it an argument, 'cause it's not an argument, we have fun with it, like who won the 36 years, well, I don't know, 35 years. It's our long-standing debate is who won the last race at ISA Speedway, and I say it was TK Tom Craft in the figure eight car. The plaque on Route 111 to the entrance to the road that takes you to the racetrack says, Bob Park, because the modifieds were the feature division, and after the modifieds, the figure eights race. So TK won it, but Harry Man will tell you that the Demolition Derby was last. And some people don't call Demolition Derby racing. Some people say, "Oh, I race demos." Hey, but I guess a race is a competition. So maybe Gravel's right here. Can you believe that? I mean, he was right about the soup, the maggot soup that we had to eat one time. But it's when you look back though, like he's Harry Man, aka Gravel, he has been in doing this for 35 years, wrecking cars, and I'll tell you what, I'd love to sit down with him and write a book. My view, a view from the mangled car. I mean, I wouldn't probably put some more thought into that, but there's more than, and I'll tell you what, I think we need to get a demo guy down here, because there's more to racing. Let me say, there's more to competing in the Demolition Derby than just crashing and wrecking, because there's preparation that goes into demolition derbies. Long John Silver, a perennial demolition winner back in the old days, back in the 70s and the 80s, and I believe into the 90s, and Harry Man will probably tell us when Long John stopped racing. Long John worked for me at UPS when I worked nights, and one day we're sitting there and we're talking, and he's explaining what went into preparing his Demolition Derby car for competition. And I couldn't believe what he was saying. I thought you just go and, like Jay Sykes, he spent 200 hours building Eugene Malverdi's winning demolition, and Long John showed up at Riverhead a few years ago, so he still does it. But believe it, it's kind of funny because you look at a demolition derby guy and you wonder, what do they do for a living during the week? Long John Silver was a tractor trailer driver at UPS. Imagine that, one of the highest paid guys at UPS, driving a tractor trailer, in the hourly ranks, and racing or competing in demolition derbies, and gravel. Another guy who's hard-working guy. He works 60, 70 hours a week at his job in the wintertime, and I guess he works cuts it down to 40 or 50 in the summer, but he still has time to work on and prepare demolition derby cars, and it's kind of funny. I remember watching the Happy Days, and they had a demolition derby show, the show about demolition derby where Fonzie was going against, I believe it was the Lassard brothers and Pinky Tuscadero and whatnot, and they really made a joke out of demolition derby racing, and it's not a joke. It's on. Oh, that's what it was. The Matahachi brothers. All right, thank you. I couldn't remember. But when you go back and look at demo, I remember when I was a kid, they had the 100-car demolition derbies at ISIS Speedway, and they televised them on ABC's Wild World of Sports. It was awesome. It was awesome looking at that and being there and Wide World of Sports back then, and there was no live stuff, so they filmed it Labor Day weekend. That's when they had that event. It was the World Championship Figure 8 race and the World Championship Demolition Derby, and they filmed that, and then Wild World of Sports played it in the summer, in the wintertime. And what they did is, it was like filler. They used it as filler for like the ski jumping from whatever on in the Swiss Alps and stuff. So it's when you look at that, when you go back and you look at those days, you sit there and think, wait, I was at that. I watched that event. And oh wait, how the camera is only one on certain cars, just like today, in sports, it's only showing the front runners, But here's a guy that was in a demolition derby, 373 cars, man, that's a wow, it's just amazing, and in talking to Grau and I'll never give away his secrets in preparation, and I'm sure he hasn't told me the big ones, but he's told me some things that involve with preparation. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. Maybe when he retires, he can give away some of his secrets. Like Grau, and Grau was one of the good guys in demolition derby, and became an official as a demolition derby inspector. And he just kind of moved along the ranks, and until he too was asked to go bowling because he was told the same speech that I was, that we didn't understand their business. But back in the good old days. Back in the good old days, But it's a good thing. Now I got to read this promo here with this new format that I'm using. I'm a little I don't want to say rusty because I'm not rusty. Just it's change, and my buddies in my circle know Joe's not good with change. But anyway, we'll be good for next week. But anyway, Hot Water Music, playing the Paramount Theater in Huntington, Long Island, New York, Sunday, January 27th at 8 p.m. And InRavio wants to send you to the show. Give us a call now, 1-855-4-INRavio. The first caller wins. And you can go to ParamountNY.com to get tickets for this and other cool shows. Remember, you need to be able to get to the Paramount in New York to win these tickets. So it's excellent. It's an excellent opportunity. The Paramount Theater, good supporter of InRavio. Don't be afraid to go to that website and get some tickets. They have some good stuff going on at the Paramount. So, and just tell them InRavio told you to call. All right, give them a little extra plug here. But I hear you. Jay Slice now. He's talking some demolition derby secrets there, and and Gravel's kind of a little sidestepping here. It's like Perry Mason here, you mean you don't weld the gears, the cars, Gravel? And Gravel says, just the rear, But there's some tricks, and Long John Silver told me some tricks too, and I really got to search my memory banks because I don't want to get them wrong, but he had some good tricks as well. And yes, WJ, it was starting to come down when I came here, and it was like I said at the start of the show, there was probably an inch or so on my front lawn, But anyway, in Demo Derby, and I know we're kind of rambling today, but in Demo Derby, I always felt that there should be other things because Gravel told me I was at a Demolition Derby drivers meeting. And Gravel's doing a talk, and no driver door hits, and no this, no that. And then he said to me, and I don't want to see, and I hope I get this right, and I don't want to see any cheese leakers out there. And I'm saying, cheese? What the heck is a cheese leaker? I'm saying to myself. And maybe Gravel will come on and explain what a cheese leaker is, because I'm not really still sure to this day exactly what a cheese leaker is. And all the drivers, all the demo guys are, okay, well, watch so-and-so because he's a cheese leaker. Watch this guy, he's a cheese leaker. And I'm like, what is a cheese leaker? And so there you go, Jay's like a guy who does a lot of hiding. He's not hitting anything because you have to be there at the end. So here's my idea for demolition derbies, because Joe's just full of ideas. Demolition Derby, and you have to have a scorer. You have to have a scorer for every car, unfortunately. So the days of the 100-car Demolition Derby, with my thought here, wouldn't work because where are you going to find 100 scorers? But then again, they find 100 scorers for Enduro. So anyway, certain hits are worth a certain amount of points. Front impact hits are worth more than rear impact hits because that's a bigger chance of wrecking, so your motor can't run. If you hit the driver, if you hit somebody in their driver's door, you get negative points. If you spin the car around a quarter turn, you get so many points. If it's a half a turn, so many points. And if you get the car to do one complete turn, you get like bonus points. So it has to do with the number of hitting. So a guy who's out, I don't know, with 5 cars left to go, he might have more points. He might be the winner. That's how I think it should be. Because then there'll be no cheese leakers. Because if you're not hitting, then you're not getting any points. So you can be the last guy. You could be cruising around. You don't even have a miss in your motor. Everything's perfect. You didn't hit anybody. You got 0 points. Just something. I don't know. Just a thought. Yeah. Well, you know what? So what? Let them fight. That's part of the show. Let them fight. I saw that on the Discovery Channel had some show about demos on. They were going to the houses and threatening people. It was almost like Madhouse when it was on A&E. But if you're consistent and it can't be like a little tiny little baby hit. If the car didn't move or spin, there's no points for that little hit. Or these little, I don't know if you can see my hands, these little booms. That's not a hit. I want to hear bang, boom, crash. I want to hear that stuff. I always loved demolition derbies, and demolition derbies were kind of invented because a promoter was walking down the street and he saw an accident and everybody ran to it. And he said, you know what? I could do this. If people will run to an accident, maybe if there's a controlled environment of accidents, they'll pay to see it, and they did. And you know what? Now that you say that, Harry, I remember that you did. God was on the History Channel, the History of Demo Derbies, the Discovery Channel. It's and it is. It's on it's on YouTube. Let me see if I can get that. No, YouTube's not coming up, Jay Slice. I know what you meant, YouTube, but it's all good, and it's. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I can get a panel of demolition derby people here when I get back from Daytona. We can talk about demos, because I think that's a pretty interesting thing. Wrecking cars, and I'll tell you what, think about, you're on the expressway and you have an accident. You're out of work like 6 weeks and you only got hit once. maybe Gravel could explain how he could be hit like 17 times and not but still go to work on Monday. You know, I don't know. And yeah, Larry Mendelson, a longtime promoter here on Long Island, I used to speak with him, noticed that fans are more interested in the wrecks than the races. And okay. But that was in the old days, Gravo. That was in the old days. You know, 'cause I recall a demolition derby person who shall remain nameless, who had a 12-pack in what looked like, I believe, like they used to put the batteries in a milk crate, you know, because when the milkman came to your house in the olden days, and there was no need for those things anymore, so they put batteries in them. Well, this guy had a 12-pack in there, if I'm not mistaken, and another guy knew he had a 6-pack or a 12-pack in the glove compartment, so that in between hits he could you know, take a sip. It looked like he was drinking water. You know, Jay Slice got hit on Route 27 here in Long Island. He missed 3 weeks of work. He hit the whole wall at 125 and he walked away. It was I was correct. Harry man, it was a 6-pack in the glove compartment during an Enduro. Oh, that's right, I forgot. You didn't have to confess, man. I just knew you would know. But that's how it is, you know. It's all about having a good time and sharing the memories. And that's you know, even though you know, I do a lot of writing, and I do a lot of writing about race experiences. There you go. Gravel was always the most honest guy I ever worked at a racetrack. But I write about the memories, the stuff that we did, the stuff that we talked about, the hot dog that rolled on the greasy, grimy floor that everybody touched and sneezed on, and we made this driver eat it because we told him you can't be disrespectful when you're offered food. You know, and Harry Man was there for that. He was there that night that we did that with the late great Walt Edsel, who made this guy eat it. You know, 5 less years he might have finished first. But you know, but that's the plan moving forward. The week of Speed Weeks, the night before the Battle at the Beach, UNOH Battle at the Beach, I will not be here. I will be working Daytona. I was trying to figure out how to do a live feed from there, and that's not out of the question. I'm just trying to figure out if I can, if at that hour, if I'm able to break away from what I am doing. I'm going to see if we could do something that we could do. But that's I'll decide. You know, I'll get with the powers to be and see if we can make that happen. You know, I could do Skype. I have Skype, and the show has Skype. So you know, possibly. If I can get back to the hotel, because Skyping at the racetrack would be too noisy. But I did, when I was on the other radio show back 10 years ago on the internet, we did do that. We did a live show from MRN's studio in the Volusia Mall, and it worked out very good, so that's good. And Harry Man was working on some guests for me. Marty Himes and Georgie Tett are okay, so they just we have to arrange transportation for them. So we'll work on that. So maybe we could do that in a couple of weeks. No cell phone in the car. You know, Jason, I can say this now because it's in the past. The rules stated, and we only have a couple of minutes. The rules in the blunderbuss said no radio communication. Now I have a rookie driver, and I need to communicate to my driver. You know, car inside, car outside, you know, accident turn 2. So the rules didn't say you couldn't have a cell phone. So we took a cell phone, taped it inside the fire suit, and then put the earpiece in, taped the earpiece in, and it was direct connect. They didn't need to communicate to me. I need to communicate to them. And you know, the old Nextel direct connects, car inside, car outside. And I would have argued that case if they would have like DQ'd me for that, because the rules didn't say no communication. It said no radios, and I was using a cell phone. So I was pretty good at playing with the rules. You know, it's just one of the things I did. In fact, I have notes for that. I just haven't decided. And yeah, it's still definitely in the gray area. You know, it's like Andrew Biondolillo, whose son Vinny drives a modified, but when his late brother Joe was driving a late model, you know, I took him down for something, an infraction. We call it an infraction. Andrew comes in and says, the rules don't say I can't do that. And I said, yeah, well, you show me where the rule says you can. And he couldn't. So I said, well, now you can't do it. He goes, and it had to do with a part had to be factory stock. So he gets all frustrated with me, and I laugh about it. That wasn't funny then. And he slams the rule book down on my desk, or the rule sheets that were stapled together. And he said, the rule says factory stock. This part was made in the factory, and when I went to the store to get it, it was in stock. And you know what? I couldn't agree with him at the time because, you know, then I lost. So I still won. I just invoked the discretion of the official in charge rule, where, you know, basically if I don't like you, that's the rule. Not that I ever did that, but but I did change that rule to from factory stock to OEM, I believe, original equipment manufactured and stuff like that. I made it so that I wasn't going to be burned by that factory stock. But listen, you know, it's not a radio. Right? It's a cell phone. Cell phone is not a radio. It's a communication device. A radio is, you know, a radio. You dial in a channel and you can, you know, listen to 103.1 or 106.1 or 101.1 or 96.3, all the radio stations, you know. I don't know. I don't know. But you gotta read between the lines. Like Bobby Lane, the late Bobby Lane said to me, we'll end up with this. Bobby Lane said to me, he comes in one day, he shows me a rule book. And he shows me a page from the rule book. He says, how many lines do you see there? I look, I don't know. He goes, well, count them. I said, 30. He goes, well, I see 60. How do you see 60? What do you got? You double vision? He goes, no, I read between the lines. So there we go. That's all about the rules. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for putting up on my rant tonight. It's the off season. There's not a lot to talk about, but I still come here for you folks because this is our night. This is what we do. We talk about racing. We talk about stories. We share stories. And I will get the guest list for the anniversary show, which will be, I believe, that's the 25th of February, that Monday. I'll be back. I'll be flying back. We'll do a little anniversary show, and we'll probably do like a roundtable discussion type of thing, and have a good time with it because that's why we do what we do. And yes, Gravel, let them know. I know you'll pick up Marty Himes for me when Marty comes with Georgie Tett, and we'll make arrangements to get them here as well. That was a good show. Let's see. And Harry Mann's ended with Demerol State. If it doesn't say you can do it, you can't. Absolutely. So we're gonna, and we do. WJ, we'll be all set. Well, we did our Christmas show here. We did it at a round table. There was 6 people sitting around the table, and everybody got in. So, anyway, I want to thank everybody again for listening, for coming on, for sharing their experience, for talking, putting up with my rant tonight. And I want, you know, if anybody's traveling tonight, please be careful because the roads are pretty slick and slippery. They were on the way out here. They were, and from what I'm being told here on Long Island, it is snowing. So be careful. God bless you all, and we will see and talk to everybody next week. Good night, everybody.
I'm a maniac, and I'm on the attack, and you're a racetrack hack at the back of the pack. You drive like my Uncle Pete. He's blind and ain't got no feet. Just one more lap till I take the checker. Add another win to my winning record, another trophy, more respect, and a great big gosh darn check. See, there I am in victory lane. I'm doused with champagne once again. There's you in last place. You got egg all over your face. See, I'm the best. I'm the star. I'm the undisputed king.